Hello students. Previously we have learned about the factor latitude which influence on the distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. Today we are going to learn about other factors which influence the distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. Let us see. Though latitude is a main factor, there are other factors also which influence the distribution of temperature. However, their effects are limited to a particular region. These factors are nearness to the sea, continentality, height above the mean sea level, and physical setup of a region like mountain ranges are factors that lead to diversity in the climate of different regions. Other than these, factors like a cloud cover, vegetation cover, urbanization, industrialization, etc. also influence the local climate of a region. Students, after the activity of the heating and cooling of water, you must have realized that the land gets heated rapidly than the water and also cools rapidly than the water. Students, we normally think that air gets heated due to the sun's rays, and because of the hot air, the land and water get heated. But in reality, what happens? First, land and water get heated due to sun rays. Later, they radiate into the atmosphere the heat that they have absorbed. As a result, the layer of the air close to the surface gets heated. The heat received from the sun gets transferred vertically to the adjacent upper layers of the air. Hence, air closer to the surface is hotter, and as one moves higher up from the surface, the temperature of the air decreases. The temperature near the sea level is higher and it decreases in the mountainous regions. Due to this difference in the heating and cooling of land and water, the air over the land gets heated faster and also becomes cooler rapidly. The air over the water gets heated slowly and also loses the heat in a slower manner. In the coastal areas, as compared to continental areas, the temperature of air is lower during the day but warmer at night. Contrary to this, the temperature of air in the continental areas is higher during daytime and lower at night. In the coastal areas, because of the heating of seawater, water vapor gets mixed in the air. This water vapor holds the heat in the air received from the sun. As a result, the air in the coastal areas remains moist and warm. Conditions in the continental areas are the opposite. As a water vapor is absent due to faraway distance from the sea or a high altitude above the mean sea level, the air remains dry. This leads to sharp differences in the day and night temperatures. The difference in the maximum and minimum temperatures of a day is called diurnal range of temperature. In short, the difference in the day and night temperatures is less in the coastal areas and more in the continental areas. For example, temperatures are even in Mumbai in the state of Maharashtra, but at Nagpur they vary a lot. In the coastal region of Konkan, the range of temperature is less, but in Vidarbha, the range of temperature is found to be higher. Therefore, coastal areas have an equable climate, whereas in continental areas the climate is extreme. For example, the climate of Mumbai is equable, whereas in continental locations like Nagpur, it is extreme. The difference in the mean temperatures of summer and winter is called annual range of temperature.
Thus, we have noted that how does the factor differential heating of land and water influence the distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. Now, we will see how does the factor ocean currents influence the distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. Look at this figure number 5.6, world ocean currents, which has been given in your textbook on page number 27. Students, we have learned about how does the factor differential heating of land and water influence the distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. Due to temperature differences, both upward and horizontal current develop in the ocean. Besides temperature differences, factors like winds and differences in the density of water also give rise to horizontal currents. These ocean currents flow from the equator towards the polar region and from polar region towards the equator. When an ocean current flows from the frigid towards the torrid zone, it reduces the temperature of the coasts in the torrid zone. When these ocean currents flows from the torrid zone towards the frigid zone, it increases the temperature of the coast in the frigid zone. The regions where warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents converge are favorable for the growth of planktons. Look at this place. This is an example where these warm ocean currents and the cold ocean currents meet. The regions where warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents meet are favorable for the growth of planktons. Planktons are the food for fishes. Fish from other areas travel towards these areas in large numbers. They breed in warm waters. Due to high concentration of fish population, fisheries thrive well in these areas. And now we are going to observe figure number 5.7, World Mean Annual Temperature. Look at this map. World Mean Annual Temperature. Considering the temperatures of various places on the earth, maps of global distribution are prepared. Figure number 5.7 is drawn with the help of isotherms. Look at these lines. These lines are called isotherms. Isotherms are lines that connect places with the same temperature. These lines generally appear parallel to the latitudes on a world map. Now observe the isotherms of 25 degrees Celsius. This line occupies areas close to the equator. The shape of this line appears like an ellipse on the map. The north-south spread of this ellipse, look at this north-south spread of this ellipse. The north-south spread of this ellipse is greater on the continents as compared to the oceans. This isotherm occupies some parts of the continents of South America, Africa, Asia, Australia. A very limited portion of the Pacific Ocean is occupied by this isotherm. You will find two isotherms with a level of 0 degrees Celsius in both the hemispheres. Observe them. Observe them. The 0 degrees Celsius isotherm from the southern hemisphere is a largely straight and is a parallel to the line of latitude. Comparatively, the line of same value in the northern hemisphere deviates north and south considerably. In the west, in the parts of Pacific Ocean, it is a fairly straight. But when it enters in the continent of North America, it turns somewhat to the north. Then the line proceeds eastwards. Within a short distance, after entering the Atlantic Ocean, it turns towards the northeast. In this part, you will find all the isotherms lines turning towards the northeast. This is because the warm ocean current is located in this area. Further, after entering Eurasia, while moving eastwards, somewhat it turns to the southeast. Still further in the Pacific Ocean, most of the isotherms lines appear moving eastwards as straight lines. The isotherms in the southern hemisphere are fairly parallel to the latitudinal lines. From South Pole to the Tropic of Capricorn, the distance between these lines is almost equal. As the proportion of land in the southern hemisphere is limited, temperatures in these parts are largely influenced by latitude. In the northern hemisphere, the distance between these lines varies. In this hemisphere, the proportion of land is comparatively greater. This affects the distribution of temperature. These effects are seen in the form of variations in the distance between the isotherms and curved nature of these lines.